Hey team, today we are talking about setting up multiple teams in your account, specifically on the scorecard. So when you start to have multiple teams in 90, your scorecard becomes interesting because maybe you want to start building formulas or using the measurable manager, having different measurables live on different teams or the same ones live on different teams. So we'll go through all of that setup here. So initially what I want to talk through is a really simple use case, and I'll use our sales team. We all kind of know that on the leadership team, we probably have 5 to 15 measurables. Maybe we break them out by different departments, but we're really trying to think high level about the business. As we go to our departments, you can see I've got a few examples here: sales, operations, marketing, finance. But as we go to these teams, we're thinking more and more about the activities that these people are doing on our teams. And so I've got kind of two example setups I want to show you here on the sales team. One is maybe I've got a section where we're tracking all of the calls and outbound activities that we're doing with our clients. And so we've got Crystal, Madison, Matt, all making sales calls. I've got them assigned to those individual people. And so really they're going to be responsible for entering their numbers day to day. Then I can have a team total, and you can see this lightning bolt here. When I do that, it's essentially saying I've set up a formula. So you would click down here, enable formula builder. And when you do that, you have a few options right here. So when I click measurable, it's going to pull up my full list of measurables in my account, and I can start to pick and choose and actually build a formula out. So a really common use case here is saying, hey, I want to take every single person's number for client calls, and I want to make a team total. So I'm going to click the measurable, and then I'm going to click the plus sign, click the measurable again, click the plus sign, measurable. If I wanted to keep adding to this formula, I would click the plus sign, I would click the measurable, I would add that to the list, and then it's going to give me some feedback, correct formula or not. When you're making things like averages, you want to use your parentheses, divide by, and then you could add the number 3 at the end of this. I'm going to go ahead and delete what I just did and cancel out of this. But what you can see is essentially when I come in, I'll delete one of these numbers. It's going to be gray until I have filled in all the aspects of that formula. So if I put a number back in here, now we've got our team total listed. It's going to, when you hover over it, show you the calculation for how we got to that number. But a lot of times people will take this team total, and we want to look at all of these numbers for the sales team level 10 meeting. But maybe when we go to leadership, we only want to show the team total because we don't need the individual details of each person. So that's a scenario where we could go to leadership. We could say, I want to add an existing measurable, and then let's look for my team client calls total. I'll add that to the list, and then it'll automatically be pulling in all of those numbers that we have added over time. And so if I did want to see, again, that calculation and breakdown of how I got to that number, we see it there. And then we can see, hey, this one, we're missing values for these specific measurables, which is why it's not filled in quite yet. So that's going to be a great way to start setting up those individual teams, is thinking about what formulas could you be building and what measurables do you actually want to be sharing across different teams, because that concept of something can live here, and then it could also, maybe we want to share it with finance or marketing as well, so that they can think about and react to that number. How do I drive more qualified leads? How do I give them more resources for the calls that they're making? Things like that. You can share that number across to any team. The other way that you could set it up is you could create groups for each person. So maybe you have a group for that person's name, and then you list all of their measurables within there. So you go through all of them. Kind of up to you with how you want to set up your groups. So those are the sections that you have here, and then the measurables that you have within each one of those groups. And you can do this across every team, like I mentioned. If you do want to think about, how do I actually go through and manage this across all of the teams and see all of the measurables in my account as I am expanding and am creating multiple teams, that's where I would go to my measurable manager. And then this is going to be where I can see and filter for people or the different types of measurables that I have created. And when I say types, I mean maybe you have those smart measurables, again, where it's using that formula versus a regular one. And then you can also view what's active versus archived. So you can go through these, and this is where you can also perform some bulk actions as well, if you'd like to select those and then reassign them duplicate them, which is a great use case if you've got one salesperson, you just hired somebody else, duplicate all their measurables and then reassign them to a new person. Things like that are a lot easier from this measurable manager list. Now, when you are going through and creating these additional teams and managing your scorecard, when you do have all of this set up, you can view that in your weekly meeting as well. So if I go to my level 10 and I go to my scorecard view, I have the same view that I saw on my scorecard page, and I can easily toggle between teams if I do have access to those and I needed to view those during this meeting as well. But everything works the same way, where I turn these into issues, have the conversation with my team, and as you're rolling out 90 to those other departments, you can be encouraging people to be, if the numbers are auto-filled in, still look at them at the beginning of every week. If they're not and they're entering them, that's giving them the high touch, real thing that's telling them this is what you really care about. So if you do need help setting up your scorecard, rolling out to teams, we're more than happy to help. Just let us know, and we'd love to chat. Thanks.